We mentioned earlier that simply because we're registered doesn't necessarily make us competent. Just a note also, terminology, competencies are skills, and competence is the ability to apply those skills. And just like an iceberg, the competence that we have in knowledge and skills is roughly 10%. The big one are our attitudes that are mostly unknown. So if we have a look at knowledge and how that applies to competence, simply because you've got a degree doesn't actually mean that you know anything or can do it well. And if we have a look at what Eric Hoffer said, in times of change, learners shall inherit the earth. The learned find themselves beautifully prepared to deal with the world that no longer exists. In other words, knowledge is not static. You have got to keep learning if you're going to be relevant in today and tomorrow's world. Skills. And what I'm going to concentrate on this slide is the soft skills. This study here at Harvard some years ago estimated that 85% of job success comes from soft skills, personal skills, people skills, where only 15% comes from the technical and hard skills. So these are the other things that we as geologists need to look at. And probably my soapbox is this one, grammar and spelling. You can have all the knowledge in the world. If you can't put it over in a report that makes sense to people, they're not even going to bother to read it. So how do we become proficient in any of these skills? Well, there's a time element. The more you do something, the better you should be at doing it. But some people will become proficient in a short space of time, and others will take longer. So that time element is not the same for everybody. And simply because a person has been doing something for a long time doesn't necessarily mean they're proficient at it. Because you can have 10 years worth of experience, or you can have 1 year's worth of experience doing the same thing over 10 times. And the two of them are not equivalent. The next thing we want to have a look at is attitudes. Now what you'll note is none of these attitudes is geology specific. These are general life skills. When you out there, I'm sure you've experienced it already, this person really knows what they're doing. They have wonderful knowledge and skills, but yes, I just can't work with them. And so we don't want to be the person that nobody can work with, because we can have all the knowledge, skills, and abilities in the world, but unless we have an array of attitudes which are conducive to working with people, we're also going to have difficulty moving on. Then another one I want to throw in here. What does our dress say about our competence? Open this to the floor. Which one of these guys is competent at his job? Purely from his dress. So does wearing a suit make you competent? What you wear says nothing or very little about how competent you are, how well you can do the job. On the other hand, what does it say about your professionalism? Again, which one of these guys is the more professional guy? So if I meet you in the field, you're going to be wearing a suit. If you're at a fellows' dinner to receive a prestigious award, are you going to be wearing your shorts? It's horses for courses. Depends upon the situation, what you're doing, and where you're doing it. When I'm in my office, I generally wear my shorts and t-shirt too. When I go and see a client, I will dress up a little bit. If I'm going to see an investor or a bank manager, I might even break out a skirt and some heels. So it depends upon what you're doing, where you're doing it.